in like I don't know, I want to say like around when like Brig was like a really big problem, I
Yeah.
had actually started like really grinding the game.
Yeah.
Putting in like significant amounts of time actually VOD reviewing, actually trying to play with other people, doing everything I could do in my own personal ability. But I was also at the time I was like super versed to the whole concept of coaching because I was like, oh, I should be able to figure out everything I need to know first, and then I'll get a
Yeah.
coach whenever I've learned everything I could possibly learn. But that's just like not how it works.
Right.
And so now I'm kind of I think maybe like conceptually and maybe like in my brain, I think I know a lot of the things that I like want to do. I think I know a lot of the things that I should be doing.
Hmm.
But I don't want to kind of approach it with the same kind of just like raw grind throw, 8 to 12 hours in a day, lifestyle because it's just not A, not possible for me anymore, and B, just wasn't very efficient at the time.
Yeah.
So I want to try something different now.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. What got you
Yeah.
to get you to kind of take this approach? Like, when did this pivot kind of happen? Because I mean, now going back to
Yeah.
Brigitte, that's years and
Yeah.
years ago,
That's
like
years
seven
ago.
years ago,
Yeah.
right? So, what's
Yeah.
changed?
Yeah, so I kind of had to have like a bit a I had a bit of a like personal like life kind of like shift where I was like my mindset around how I wanted to approach beyond, video games, just being a human being in general,
Hmm.
um, really started kind of happening, I think, especially around like October of last year. And around that time, again, I was kind of just like assessing all of my favorite games. So I was looking at like Destiny 2, I was looking at Path of Exile, and of course, eventually I came across Overwatch, and I was like, this is a space where I have so much like love and appreciation for it, but I have
Yeah.
not really put in the time that I like to believe that I like should be putting in for something that am investing so much of like my emotional energy into. Let's invest the time as well because I like the game. I enjoy playing it. Sometimes, but ultimately, like, how do I like get back into a swing where like it becomes a part of like I don't know, like my lifestyle when it comes to like
Yeah.
the video games that I'm playing and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's hard with
Yeah.
Overwatch 2, I always find, because it's such a
It,
demanding game.
mhm.
I've never played League of Legends, but I always get very League of Legends vibes from
Yeah.
Overwatch.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
mean that in both a good and a bad way, where it
Mhm.
like really demands so much of your
My-
attention and so much of
Yeah.
your emotional energy.
Yeah.
But it is really rewarding when you do kind of apply yourself. And obviously for you,
Mhm.
you've got this unique example. I mean, even looking back at your form, like you talked
Mhm.
about the Brig era, the Zarya era, you hit
Mhm.
Grandmaster, so it's like
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
There's like that. I've done this before. I should be
For
able to do this again.
yeah. Mhm.
So I'm sure there's like a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, I think that sentiment of I've done this before, I should be able to do this again is like I think there's like a particular conflict that I myself have and I know a
Yeah.
lot of other people have where it's like how do I get back to being that guy again, right? But it's like
Right.
it's such a rat race and I
It
can't
is.
allow myself to think like that ever.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
Because you get you get too accustomed to thinking like,
Yeah.
well, I learned it all exists in my brain, so my hand should be able to do it. No, it just doesn't. It
Right. It
doesn't
doesn't work
communicate.
like
Yeah,
that.
it
It
doesn't
doesn't
work
work
like
like
that.
that.
Yeah.
It's the
Mhm.
skill versus the knowledge. But even
Yeah.
beyond that
Mhm.
as well, the game has
Yeah.
changed too.
Yes, that too. Yeah. It's
The
way
game has
different.
changed.
Yeah.
The game's
Mhm.
changed, and the game's also improved as well. Like I would
Mhm.
say, Grandmaster then with like let's say Zarya would probably be around mid diamond
Yes,
nowadays.
that's how I feel. I'm pretty sure that like this is just like mid diamond. Like I don't think it was actually that good, like
Yeah.
comparatively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People have just gotten really good at Overwatch. So
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
Discourse and what is your approach to Overwatch, potentially life as a whole? I mean, you talked about that a little bit as well.
Yep.
You don't just want to turn your brain off and apply yourself. And crucially, you said as well, like you've realized that coaching isn't about knowledge necessarily,
Yeah.
partially,
Mhm.
but not necessarily. Okay, causes large swings and inconsistent amounts of Overwatch played. So I guess just in
Yeah.
the last couple of
Yeah.
years, what have those swings looked like?
Yeah, so really what it looked like, and I think like where what I'm trying to avoid happen again
Right.
is like that sort of like that like ADHD eureka moment where you're like, oh yes, I have the motivation to do the thing again.
Yeah.
And then it just turns into like, I'm playing every single day, I'm watching videos, I'm watching other people's coaching VODs, I'm trying to watch my own VODs, and it just becomes so, I think. I think I get so meticulous and mechanical about every aspect of the process that like what I just end up burning out. It just
Yeah.
aggressively. So it'll be like a 3 month burst until
Yeah.
like, some amount of time where by the time I go and play again, that 3 month burst probably shouldn't have even happened. And
Yeah,
it
I
probably
understand.
was just, yeah, and it's just those over and over. I probably did that for like 4 or 5 years straight. Like it was
Yeah,
just,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
It just doesn't, you just don't get anywhere. You just sit in like Diamond 2, Diamond 5 for the rest of your life. And it's just
Right,
like, oh my,
sure,
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Sure. I guess just kind of like to unpack that one a little bit from like two
Yep.
different directions.
Yep.
One, I like to analyze, is that something that you are seeing as actively negative? Like, is that a bad experience for you? Or is it just, I like trying new things and then kind of moving on and then coming back to those things? Is it a natural process or does it feel like unnatural and frustrating?
So I think as for the parts of the process as it goes for like, oh, there's the initial jump into the experience, and those 3 months of Overwatch are just a absolute blast. And then there
Right.
becomes that like 3 months and 1 day where the I feel like there's like a particular interest I have in that initial learning curve, and then that honing point, right? When it stops being like every day, there's just a bunch of new, interesting, fun, like
Ah,
dopamine knowledge
I
getting
see.
pumped into my brain.
I
I
see.
hit that
I see.
honing point, and then it's like, uh-oh, now I
I
have
see.
like, now there's not like little micro problems to solve. Now I
I
just need to
see.
be, yeah,
I
that kind
see.
of issue.
I
Yeah.
see. Yeah, I mean, there's two ways to kind of look at that. One, you could say
Yep.
that we need to find some sort of satisfaction out of the learning process on that 3 months and 1 day. So you can go, hey,
Yep.
the fun isn't over. It's just a different type of fun, right?
Yes.
We need to
Yeah.
know what that feels like. But then the other way to approach it would be like, maybe we need to kind of start honing that process from day one. Like day one, we're learning and
Okay.
so on, but you need to start not just learning, but also applying from day one. Because if you think about it,
Sure.
what you're really excited about is the learning process. It's the
Yes.
new information, it's the excitement, it's the freshness, but there's no root to it at all.
Yep.
And so we really should like, I mean, you'd really need to kind of root yourself from day one. Like today, you're probably going to have maybe not some new concepts, but there's going to be some information we're going to talk about that I'm going to want you to apply. It's going to be exciting and interesting, but you're going to need to start grounding that in practice today. And the reason why
Okay.
that's important is not because getting rank is so incredibly important for your fun necessarily, but I
Yeah.
think what leads to a sense of satisfaction long term is a sense of progression. And
Yes.
learning does not lead to progression. So what happens is when you have the novelty wear off, but you're no better off 3 months ago than you were or 3 months today than you were 3 months ago rather, then you're going to feel a sense of like, well, what did I actually get out of that? There's no sense of progression. So we need to start getting better today. Now that might not be ranking up today, but that needs
Yeah.
to be a sense of, okay, that's a new bit of knowledge. That's not good to know for the sake of knowing. I need to start practicing that now. And it needs to start being daily applied, if that makes sense.
I see what you're saying. Yes. Okay. Okay.
That,
Yeah.
that that's the
Yeah.
positive reinforcement we need.
Yeah.
You need to go. Okay, I've learned something. I've started applying it today, and within a week I see some sense of progression. Maybe not in rank, but I can see myself doing
Yeah.
that thing better. We
Yeah.
need that now. We need that now, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, I can even look at it with your hero pool, right? Like your
Oh
hero pool is
gosh.
a
Yeah.
reflection of exactly what you're
Yeah.
describing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a kind of a mess, right? Like
Yeah.
but it's hard. This is where I really struggle, and I want to like find the most effective version of you because at the same time, that hero pool is probably why you like Overwatch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know?
For me, it is really fulfilling to see a problem, see a
Yeah.
solution, and just like watch the path and be like, oh, I could do that thing on this character to fix this issue here.
Yeah.
But that exact issue is the reason why, like this is a like exaggerated, but like 7 characters would get cycled through in a game when
Right.
I've been told by every person ever like, oh, just try to practice your small character pool, and it's like,
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
feels conflicting intrinsically. But I
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
the yeah.
You remind me of like this is like a bit of an exaggeration, but you remind me of like so at the professional level we call them flex DPS players, basically projectile DPS players, right? They used to be like the Hanzo players, the
Yes,
Genji
yeah, yeah, yeah,
players,
yeah.
the Mei players,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Nowadays they play. They kind of got bullied into the flanker role, so they play a lot of tracer. But they've also like in the last couple of years, if you were a flex DPS player, you've probably had stints on Venture, Reaper, Genji, Tracer, Sombra, even Hitscan, Mei. Like we've played, and that's just to name a few, right? So like Echo, Pharah.
Yes. Yeah.
Like basically my point being is that like the flex DPS players often lean towards being extremely whatever the team needs, they get into it and they just love playing. I mean, I've worked with a lot of them. They're good support players. They're good tank players. They just know the game. Like they just know the game. Whereas the hit scan players are like, oh, another Soja meta. Oh boy, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they've been doing that for like the last 3.5 years. So basically, the point being here is that there is variance within that, right? And so for you, you might be the flex DPS archetype. You might be the type, not literally those heroes, but you might be the type of person that just enjoys trying and experimenting with new things. And I don't want to steal that. The problem with that is that if it's too caricatured, then you end up burning out and not wanting to play anymore. It's not so much about the rank. It's about the fact that the game stops being fun.
Yes. Yep. 110%. Like you're putting it like pretty like right on the head. It's like the game of over, like my rank aside, like the rank is like the thing that I feel is like whenever I watch the number go up, I'm like, wow, nice. Like the effort is turning into like a thing that's measurable. But what gets me to like wake up in the morning and hop on Overwatch is like, here's a new character that I can learn how to play better, or here's a point of optimization that I can make here. But that obviously that experience has its great downsides as we're
Well, the key thing is that you said is it's a point of optimization that needs to be done. And right now it sounds like you're influencing, or there's a lot of influx of new information, but there's no real increase in skill.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like, I don't really care that much about my rank, but if I would like to get better at this character, and I don't feel like I'm getting better at that character, well, then we need to not having, Noah's Ark in the hero pool, essentially, right? You've probably heard me talk about hero pools again, and you've heard a lot of people talk about hero pools. What I would consider for you something to try is an extreme version of what I call a dynamic hero pool, which means you basically have a 1 or a 2 trick hero pool that you just pivot every few weeks.
Okay. Interesting.
So what I mean is that for the rest of July, you're a support main. You play on a break and only on a break, right? Then you evaluate in 3 weeks. You go, okay, I'm not having as much fun. I feel like I've made some progress in some things. Let's play Winston Zarya, right? Or let's play Cass. Just basically you allow yourself time to apply and learn. Not just to learn, but apply new concepts, and then from then you move on and you kind of go where the wind takes you. But you're anchoring yourself long enough to see some sort of progression, not because the rank is so important, but because that sense of progression is going to be infectious, right? In theory.
Yeah. Yes. And I think I've kind of felt some of what you're describing in that, like, I felt like at a certain point in time, I had felt like, I should probably go and play tank to get a sense of like what a tank needs of this to do, right? And I played a support so I can understand what the other pieces need to do. But usually whenever I go and play, it's a fair point because I usually will just like 2-roll Q, but that feels ineffective because it doesn't feel like I'm
effective.
It feels incredibly ineffective. And so I'm like, how can I get this same satisfaction while also being able to improve? So yes, 3-week bursts of tight character pools.
And that's just a guideline. That might be 1 week, 2 week, it might be whatever you want. Right. It might be 1 tricking a character, it might be 2 tricking. I mean, I don't really know, but I do strongly encourage you to stay within your role and to within the role stay within about 2 characters.
Cool. That makes a lot of sense.
You don't even necessarily need to play characters that are similar. Like I remember back in the day, everyone's like, you have to play hit scan. Like you can't play farm cast. I think nowadays, I don't think you have to do that. I mean, yes, the aiming signatures are a little bit different, but just the way DPS handles about taking angles are pretty similar across the board.
Yep.
I think you can handle it basically, but I would stay within the rules. So goals for you: 3 rolls diamond or 1 roll masters to sort of back up in my mind extrinsic short-term goal. Yeah, I mean, makes sense.
And I think that I think actually saying 3-roll master is kind of like a bit of like an indication of like part of the problem. Is it like I think there's a part of me that like feels very satisfied in seeing like 3 like of the same role, but I probably would get more personal value out of like trying to, I think, isolate that and not like all 3 of them, but being like,
I mean, let's just see what happens. Like obviously our first goal is going to be kind of not fixing, but improving your relationship with Overwatch as a whole. Right?
Yeah.
So once we do that, the reason why I think that's so important is because I'm looking at your long-term goal, which is kind of getting more involved in team play potentially.
Yes.
I'd like for you to kind of feel a little bit more confident that where you are in Overwatch first, right? Now, you're never going to have it solved. Like, you're not going to achieve nirvana within Overwatch, right? But if you feel like, hey, I feel like I'm really kind of enjoying tank. I feel like I've got a pretty good routine going on down. Well, then there's nothing wrong with going out and looking for a team to scrim with, like, as soon, like now, like within a couple of weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like, depending on how things go. Like, I've worked with bronze, gold, plat, silver, diamond, masters teams. They're all over the place. You just have to kind of know where to look. So, message me afterwards if you need some help looking for a team. I can give you some pointers, but beyond that, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. So and again, that's because it's fun playing with a team, right? So
seriously, so much more fun.
Okay, mentality. The things if I'm good enough, I not only can feel like I should win, but makes me swap mains a lot. Feel like I have no agency and ultimately lose motivation. Yeah, I mean, agency is going to be a key thing because
Yeah.
I doubt there are very many characters in Overwatch that you can actually play well.
Um. Yeah. No.
And and,
Probably.
and, and,
No. No. No,
and,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
let me elaborate on what I mean by that. And what I mean
Yep.
is that you really understand what the character can do in adverse situations. That's kind of what I
No.
mean by that. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely feel like I am always trying to force the character to be able to fit itself in what I understand to be its like most optimal
Right.
position, but when that gets stolen away,
Yep.
it's just like brain short circuits and it's a matter
Correct.
of like trying to find my way around that. It's just yeah.
Correct, and that's where you just don't know the character well enough, right? Like
Yeah.
almost every character in Overwatch has enough intrinsic and flexibility to where they can kind of provide different value elsewhere. Like you're never going to pop off with Orisa on Watchpoint Gibraltar, but there are some tools that you can leverage to kind of find different strengths. But if you can't do it, that means you just don't know how to play Orisa well enough.
Yes. Yep.
So I guess that's kind of like what we need to look at here is like what are the characters that we need to kind of like fully understand so that even in adverse situations you can kind of exploit it. Okay. Terms of playtime here, spread
Yeah.
out over shorter sessions, a couple hours every day when you are playing. We've talked more about like your dynamic hero pool approach.
Yep.
Obviously, I'm a big fan of ranked. I'm a big fan of also taking just a couple minutes in Vaxta, the workshop, just to warm up
Yep.
for a few minutes.
Yep.
But do you have any questions with playtime or training?
Yeah, actually, I actually wanted to ask quite a bit about
Let's
this,
do it. Let's do it.
because I struggle with this quite a lot.
Yeah.
Knowing and feeling like the time that I'm investing is going into the what I'm going to call the right places in gigantic quotes, is a big struggle for me. When it comes down to it, I operate a lot better when I can kind of rely to know that I'm kind of expected to go play the game at a certain time.
Right.
And so like it helps just to kind of know like this is how much I'm going to play. I'm going to play from this time to this time. What kind of feels out to be, kind of, necessary for meaningful progression. And when I say that, I
Yeah.
don't mean like I'm not trying to just be at GM in X amount of time. That's
Yeah.
not the way that my
Of
goals work.
course.
But if I do actually want to see like improve at a meaningful pace, where does like the average time for investment kind of come from? And is it
Yeah.
as organized as I'm making it out to be?
I mean, it can be. I mean, it was with me when I
Yeah.
got coaching when I was like gold,
Okay.
and the guy that I was like very regimented about how I should approach the game. So I was basically training
Yeah.
as if I was aiming for masters or grandmaster from plat, basically, and I got
Okay.
that right.
Sure.
I didn't really
Yeah.
change my routine, but it was pretty intense. For you, like let's say we wanted to get to diamond all rolls, or just to see like let's say a one rank improvement, a couple tiers up from where you're at right now.
Yeah.
You probably want to spend around 3 to 4 games every day between no more than 1 or 2 heroes. And that would include
Yeah.
a couple minutes of warm up in Vaxta and encourage you to get up and take like a minute break while you're in queue for each game.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
that would probably
feels-
look like
yeah.
an hour and a half, probably per
Yeah.
day. That would be
Probably.
about what I would aim for. Now that can be 5 to 6 days per week. I would encourage less time, more days. That's generally where I think people improve
Less
the
time,
most.
more days. Yep. Okay. Good.
But yeah, and then beyond that, if you wanted to keep playing, I would say practice should really cap out at around 2.5 hours for most people.
Cool.
And then from there, you can keep playing. I would just off roll. I'd quick play. I'd play with friends. I'd arcade. I'd screw around. I'd stadium. I'd do whatever you want.
Yeah, and I think a portion of my interest was is like in that kind of like intentionality, like that
Yeah.
hour is I'm assuming that's dedicated practice time.
Correct.
Like
Correct.
the mindset that I should be having and the things that I should be thinking about, like what does that kind of look like from
Well, we're gonna do it
from-
today.
Oh
Can
yeah,
you
yeah, true.
stream
Yeah, that's right.
Overwatch?
That's the whole point. Yeah, that's the whole point.
Can you
yeah.
stream
What-
Overwatch through
Yes, I
Discord?
can.
Okay, so let's
Yes, I
jump
can.
into the replay code right now. We're gonna
Yep.
pick up a couple of things from the replay code that you send, and then we're gonna throw you right into practice. So just
good.
share. I will stream the code review.
Oh,
So you-
okay.
And then I will have you stream the gameplay afterwards. But you can
Awesome.
just show
Cool.
me whatever
Yeah,
code.
yeah.
So
Let me
what hero
stop.
or heroes do you think you want to look at today?
The characters, the character and characters that I want to look at today, I think are I had two VODs, one where I played Cast and Tracer, and another one where I think I only played Ana. I'm much more interested in how I think the Cast attack I was playing just frankly just lazy.
Sure.
I'm really curious how I played on defense in the Tracer game,
That's
and
fine.
I'm curious how I played just all across the board on the Ana game. Let me send the codes to you real quick. This one should be tracer. This one should be.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you wanted to look at the tracer priority.
Yeah.
So that was on the defense?
Yes, I believe it's on defense on Eichenwald, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. This was the yeah.
Yeah, I see Cass here.
Yeah, and then I think he literally says, "You want to swap?" And I think at the time I was just like, "You know, I'll entertain it, and just so I could get my tracer in."
Sure. Tracer's a hero you enjoy a lot, I assume.
Yes, a lot. She lets me like think, and like I feel rewarded for thinking on tracer.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Do you feel like you have a reasonable understanding of what you should be doing with tracer, even if you're not consistent at doing it?
I can try and describe what I think is what I should be doing on tracer.
Go for it.
Yeah. So my understanding is that like on the whole, if there is like a here, let me actually let me simplify it down a little bit.
Take your time.
I should be trying to kind of divert pressure away from other people by applying pressure in it myself. So what I feel like is valuable on Tracer is when the enemy team has an Ana, my team has a Roadhog, and I can get her to burn a nade, right?
Yeah.
In my brain, I just made 15 seconds worth of time because by virtue of her not having that cooldown, he can now do a thing and then blah, 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 blah. And so what I'm thinking about on Tracer is like, am I standing in a position that demands resources, pulls them towards me such that they don't get put somewhere else? And when opportunities arise for kills and like, kill pressure, because that's kind of like my job as a DPS, I can find it and I can kind of execute quickly. That's kind of like what I'm thinking about whenever I'm playing the character.
Sure.
At least that's what I try to be thinking about.
All of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a good rule of thumb for practice.
Yeah, I know.
And when I asked you what Tracer does well, you gave me the full thesis because you gave me not only what you're doing, but why, which is really good. This is you're coaching very well right now. But when you're practicing, you only want the bite size of what I have to do. You don't need to understand why. You need to understand what you're doing. So you already understand the why. So what does that look like?
What does that look like?
In one sentence, how do you position as Tracer?
Oh, kind of like, oh gosh, I guess like, in one sentence, not in between 2 points of threat and usually off to the side or behind.
Okay, sounds good. So then really all we have to do when we're practicing or even reviewing is, are you kind of checking that box? And there's lots of other boxes to check, how you're using your blinks or mechanics, but are you checking that box? And that's how you practice. Is you find a simple sentence and then go train that sentence. That could be, am I using a blink to dodge consistently? Am I doing it well? Am I utilizing my clip effectively? Or am I just spraying bullets and missing all my shots, right? Am I planning out my pulse bombs ahead of time, right? There's a lot of things that you can practice with Tracer, but you don't practice anything more than simplicity, no matter how good you are, even if you're the best player in the world.
And when I am practicing these sentences, is the goal to be practicing like a sentence at a time, or
yes.
Okay, a sentence.
No more than one sentence. No more than one sentence.
No more than one sentence. Cool.
Yeah. Everything else is autopiloted. Everything else is completely autopiloted.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Cool.
Like right now, I can tell that you're very fixated on where you would roll out. Most people are usually focused on positioning early in game, and then sometimes get distracted as the game goes along. But right now, this angle's fine. It's good. Little short range on the back line, pulling resources to the side. How did you phrase it? Not in between.
Just not in between, but usually to the side or behind.
Yeah, to the side or behind, right? And so, we're doing that thing right now. So, yeah. Okay. Now, I don't know if our blinks are going to be good or mechanics are going to be good, but that was probably not what was the focus of what you were doing right now. So it doesn't matter. So if I look at this from a perspective of like, what was the problem here? The problem was not the positioning. The problem was little things like when you were giving yourself away, right? More of when you were shooting. A little bit of how you're moving. I can tell you're moving very uncomfortably with the character. Not very uncomfortably, but not smoothly. And then even little things like this here, where there's this uncomfortable downtime when you had exactly what you wanted positionally and then did not do anything with it. And so by your own parameter, you did not pull resources away from your tank. And so then your Cassidy and your tank die. You're late to the party. Right? Now, why that was the case is really important. I don't know if you remember this exact moment.
Well, yeah, I think it's interesting. So yeah, I played this relatively recently. I think what was happening here is there became a point where I was standing up on that high point. I think I
Mm-hmm.
saw the Lucio, and I
Mm-hmm.
was thinking, okay, I'm thinking Ana. I'm trying to get
Mm-hmm.
out something from Ana. I think I saw Ana on that lower angle. I went
Mm-hmm.
up high. I don't think I actually got checked out there, but
Mm-hmm.
I think in my brain, for some reason, I was like, oh, they're gonna think I'm here on this angle. Let me
Mm-hmm.
not swing it again. When in reality, I'm Tracer. I can do that.
So
That's
you
like,
were scared of being too overly predictable, essentially.
yeah, too overly predictable. I'm
Okay.
thinking like, oh, there's just gonna be like, like the
And you were
fearful
looking
like
for Ana.
Freya. Yeah, and I'm looking for Ana, and I'm
Okay.
thinking, oh, Freya's gonna shoot
Beautiful.
me if I
Beautiful.
peek this again. Yeah,
Beautiful. Beautiful. Beautiful.
yeah,
Because we've nailed 2 points of practice for you
yeah.
immediately. Number one, there's a sense of hierarchy. Pressure is more important than unpredictability.
Okay.
Unpredictability is often something that you can leverage early in a fight. In other words, when you have plenty of time to set up, you can go, oh, I have the element of surprise. I'm going to use that. It's very powerful. But when you're prioritizing unpredictability over just doing more damage and forcing more resources, it's not worth that downtime most of the time, as you just saw in this fight.
Yes. Yeah.
You didn't get enough out of it. Now, the irony is
Yes.
that you talk about unpredictability and then you do this when there's basically nothing
Yeah.
gained out of this, right? There's
Yeah.
no battle happening. So unpredictability would matter now because you would have, in theory, if you hadn't give yourself away earlier, the element of surprise, right?
Yes,
But
yeah,
now
Lucio, like, walks in
they already
there.
know that you're there. So slightly changing your angle is not worth it given the amount of time that it has you doing nothing. Now, the reason why you did that wasn't just because you wanted to be unpredictable, which I think you're overvaluing, but you overvalue something else too, which is your target. You described Tracer as somebody that pulls resources away. Your first example was Nade, which was a great example.
Yeah.
But that's not the priority. The priority is any resource that you can from any angle that is convenient to you.
Huh. Okay.
Right now, your best resource to pull away is Lucio. And any healing that you can pull to yourself. Now, you might think, well, that doesn't seem that valuable.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. That's where you are right now. So
Yeah.
that's what you must do. Because there's an opportunity cost of rotation, as we talked about with the unpredictability, that means that you are unlikely to, by the time you even get here, the Ana might be gone. You need to take what's here now. You need to pull the Ana's attention away by healing the Lucio. That's just as good as pulling Anti-Nade away.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay.
So what
cool.
this
That
does
makes-
is this simplifies the game because you don't have to over-prioritize certain targets. You don't have to over-prioritize being unpredictable. You just need to find one of those angles, that sentence that you came up with, and then utilize your blinks accordingly. That's it.
It's like the best iteration for this use case, but like
Correct.
I don't need to try to force every specific
Correct.
use
You don't
case.
need to
I just
overcomplicate it.
Duplicate
Yes,
that
it's
process.
much
Okay.
simpler. Now, if you want to
Okay,
decide, do I want
cool.
to start on
Okay.
this angle versus starting on this angle, and you're like, this angle is more likely to run into Ana, who I like killing better. When you have the time to focus on the tiny little details, that's okay. That's totally fine. But this attention to detail is losing the forest for the trees right now.
Yes, and that's how it feels. That's exactly how it feels. Yeah.
And so we can really see that replicated just even in something as, caveman-ish as your damage numbers, right? Like as little as stats matter, it is reflecting the fact that you just haven't really done anything until it was too late, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Like this is all fine distraction. It's just the damage has already been done quite literally. So any distraction resources you're getting then, nobody in your team is there to capitalize off of it. So our principle would be take your angle, take position according to your sentence, and then don't worry who you're distracting. Even this, if your team was here to capitalize off of, it feels obnoxious, but it's resources, two very valuable resources that are not being put onto your tank. So even if your Ramatra gets naded now, who cares? Nobody's going to follow up off of the nade because they're too busy chasing you. And as long as that angle is good for you, off to the side, maybe behind, a little bit of cover, then you're going to be fine. It happens. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But this angle's fine. And so from here, do you see how like if you were to force Ana from this position, how incredibly dangerous and uncomfortable it would be?
Yes. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
So you need to take what the
yeah.
map gives you, which would be actually forcing bubbles and shooting Zarya to the side. Because if you think about it, how many DPS could hold this position here without at risk of being pushed? Not many.
Not many. There's like
Not many.
Yeah.
So you think about like Tracer's not very good at shooting Zarya. Yeah, but how many DPS could be here and do damage to Zarya and pull her attention to the side? I don't know. Like a Tracer is really the best here, right? So I mean, this is whatever.
This is
right?
it doesn't,
Now let's
like,
actually take a look at this a little bit more in detail here, because this is actually kind of an interesting mistake. Because this is another sentence that we could talk about. What's the mistake here?
I think the mistake here is like not knowing what I want to do with my blinks before going into this engagement. Like
Sure.
I'm kind of just like straight lining at them, and then I blink backwards, but there was no like risk to kill. No one's looking at me.
See,
This
that's
is
let me
just
stop
like
you right there. Let me interrupt you
yeah,
right there. That's
yeah,
what I'm looking for. Nobody's looking at you. That's
yeah,
what blinks are for, right? So it's
yeah.
not just that the blink was inappropriate in the direction that it went. Obviously, it should have been to cover here or to cover here.
Shouldn't
It's
have
kind
been
of
used at all.
right, but it shouldn't have been used at all, right?
Yes,
And so
yeah,
when
yeah.
you're playing Tracer, you must be attentive to when they're looking at me. Because I've seen a lot of Tracers have the opposite problem, right? You've probably seen some of my sessions where somebody looks at them and they just want to shoot. I'm like, no, 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 you
Yes.
have to
No,
move.
no.
You cannot win duels unless you move. So you're very sensitive to that, but the problem is that nobody looked at you.
Yeah.
Right? And so
Yes,
you
yeah.
anticipated rather than reacted, and that's usually a mistake with Tracer. You need to react, not anticipate. So it's funny death, but it's a death that's actually caused by an uncomfortableness, not with the blinks necessarily, but with how do I deal with attention or a lack of it.
Yeah.
See, earlier you did a good job because the Zarya Lucia were chasing you, and so you blinked around and wasted their time. It was really good. But there was no attention there at all. See, even here, if you were to blink here, it would be inappropriate. You kind of see what I'm saying? You should
Yes,
save that
because-
resource. And you don't blink. And
Yeah,
then
and I
now you're
hold
about
it
to
until
blink.
and now I'm
And there
like,
you go.
yes.
And so this is an appropriate blink and one that is going to result in you being able to hold the angle and force the Zarya out. That was good. And by the way, we noticed we didn't talk about whether you should be shooting a Zarya or not. Of course you should be shooting a Zarya. You know why? Because this is the angle that you wanted. So she's here, so you should shoot her. Now that she's gone,
the person.
now we might spend some time on Lucia or Ana or Echo. Now you could go, well, I don't like this angle. Okay, well then what would you have shot from over here? I'm not really sure. Maybe it would have been Echo. Maybe it would have been Ana. I don't know. You can choose what lane you want, right? Usually there's going to be at least two options with Tracer. Where's your next angle from here? Because obviously this is too far, so where do you go from here? Don't think about targets, think about locations.
Locations, I want to move to the left and probably get down towards those stairs. There's a health pack for me to play there.
Yes.
Yeah, right. And there's a good angle.
Right,
There's a
and
good
then
cover here,
opportunities
yeah.
will create themselves once you're
Yes.
here. If not
Yes.
from targets, but by their attention, and maybe they move away into the open.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. So let's see what you do. You're unfamiliar with this rotation.
Yep,
And
I'm
then you
unfamiliar
rotate
with this
too
rotation.
late,
Yep.
and you're going like with a fixation on. Now, right now, there really isn't anywhere else to go because you waited too long. But that's just an unfamiliarity with, okay, how do I move? How do I rotate this Tracer? Why are we going for Freya right now? This is correct, but why is it correct?
Well, so currently, as it exists, there is nobody that is like A, looking at me, or B,
Correct.
that I feel like should like is as like able to get killed by me as possible. Also, I'm
Right.
pretty sure. I don't know if she does because I'm not super certain, but I thought I had seen her in the air recently, so I thought she was gonna be on the ground for a second.
You're
So I was
right.
like, okay,
You're
I
right.
can- Okay, yeah.
Right.
The
The forest for the trees here, right? What's the simplest
yeah.
answer of why you're shooting the Freya?
Yeah. Oh, just because she's the person who's she's the person to shoot. I can shoot. Like
Yeah,
nobody
she's
else is close
right.
enough.
She's the closest.
Yeah.
Right. Anything
Okay.
else is going to be harder to shoot, and so why
Harder
not?
to
Right.
shoot.
Now
why
we
not?
can give yourself a lot of reasons why. 225 and high value target
Yes,
and honest
okay.
around and no flight, as you said, which was correct.
Yeah.
But also, she's just the easiest thing to shoot right now, so why not?
She's just the easiest thing to shoot. Okay. And
Now, what I
that's
don't
a
want to
good
see you
enough
do
reason.
is blink. I don't want to see you blink right now. I just want to see you shoot.
I think I might. Oh,
That's fine. Still gets the honor. Now, it's not that blinks should never be used to chase things. Like, for example, you saw Freya 1 HP, you want to chase her down. And it also doesn't mean that target priority never matters. Maybe somebody's 1 HP and you want to kind of blink in and finish them off. That's fine. Good. This is unfortunate. Okay, we're going to move on here.
Fingercraft.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Do you see how effective this angle is? Look
Yes,
at
yeah.
look. I want this is why I love the overlay here. Look at the little blue circles here. So you're shooting, you're distracting, you're harassing from a really good location for you. Lots of cover. Freya dies. Lucio looks at you. Echo's still looking at you. Echo's still looking at you. Zarya's uncomfortable, and they actually back off while their eyes are still on you, completely isolating the Zarya off. So then Zarya is going to get cut off, and so Zarya should die. Ooh, Zarya is going to die. Yes. And there you go. This is actually one of your strongest fights in terms of your rotations and your positioning and your target priority and your movement. That was very good. Very smooth.
It felt very smooth. I was going to say it felt very natural to make those choices.
Any map where those choices and rotations are natural is a strong map for Tracer. That's why she's like really good on stuff like Flashpoint where there's a lot of space. This is you forcing targets. Ironically, there's a tank as well. Where should your rotation take you from here?
So, given that I don't need to like blink over the entire gap, I can just go down right. Like that right-sided angle on that door is still totally fine, and I can play here physical cover and just chill. I should just chill here. Yeah.
Now, if you wanted to go for like a crazy pulse bomb, maybe. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it versus this comp, but yeah, this is fine.
Yeah.
Now, the intention to blink towards this door frame was correct. I mean, this is your cover. You can hold the angle. You messed it up, but it was good.
Yeah.
And you did blink in response to attention, so that's good as well. This is fine. I wouldn't recall immediately, but it's fine. The problem with the recall immediately, as you saw, is that now it puts you in a location where you're kind of in trouble, right?
Yes.
So, but at least we're forcing resources and attention, causing distractions. The problem is that because we mismanaged our resources, now we've had to kind of run back to our team instead of running to the angle, which sucks.
Yes.
Here, if anything, you could have been better with your blinks. This is probably you not respecting the Freya enough and trusting your mechanics too much.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I just saw her on that off angle. I think I saw that my team was up, and I was just like, we will kill her, so I can
but she will kill you, right?
But
so
yeah.
That's the problem with tracers, that one person can always just kill you quickly with one shot or two shots, right? So okay, let's practice now. So you can stream. So let's let's roll.
Sounds good.
So the question is just what sentence do we want to practice? I will blink in response to attention, otherwise not. Or I'm going to look for the outside angles, usually to the side or behind.
I think I want to look for the outside angles, usually like to the side or behind. Should I just cue a range game? Is that?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool. Sweet. Cool.
And so you really just kind of like let the target priority go. Once you're on that angle, I don't even really want you worrying about blinks because there's probably going to be some rotations and such. So just focus on your setup, and we'll go.
I want like stuff to actually play around. What's the
these can all
direction?
work.
Yeah. I was gonna say all of these kind of feel out fine. I don't really want to have to play with a dive team, so I'm gonna just avoid Dorado and
Dorado Verticality can be tricky.
Yeah, I find it's just hard to get groups of people to play that together without mics. So we're just getting into those spaces, and when we're in those spaces, we're just shooting the guy.
Correct. I'm going to occasionally prompt you in the middle of fights of where should you rotate. That might imply that you need to find a new angle depending on where the battlefield has gone.
Okay.
So as you kind of saw on that third point, I can vault defense. You rotated a great deal along that left side, right? You were not exactly static. That's usually how Tracer functions. But the most important angle that you will ever take is the one that you take before the fight starts. So we're going to focus on that. And then I'll occasionally prompt you mid-fight. If you mess up in your mid-fight rotations, that's okay. Not a problem. It can be difficult to do that effectively, but don't worry about it.
Yeah.
In terms of your mechanics, your blinks, your aim, your pulse bombs, recall, not really concerned because that's not what we're practicing.
It's not the specific sentence for this game. So thinking about.
And we'll give you a few sentences at the end that you can interchangeably practice depending on what you're feeling for that game.
Okay. Sounds cool. Makes sense.
So where do you normally set up here as Tracer? Do you normally play Tracer in this map?
I don't actually normally play Tracer on this map. I tend to play more like backliney hitscan things just because there's a lot of flyers that get picked. So it's just
a nice open space. So this will be good. This will be that you're kind of going in fresh and you're going to have to think like what not what I normally do, but what makes sense with Tracer's kit to start.
I feel like just like inherently walking out of this main, being harassed by something here or here would just be kind of frustrating for anybody. So I think something like this feels, I don't know, it feels like there's some logic here.
Yeah,
so
sure.
We'll see how this feels out.
Let's toy with this then.
Yeah.
Now you're going to be obviously completely isolated from resources. So any attention given to you, you're going to have to kind of bail. But
it's full pressure, and I only have an Ana who's not LOSing me, so I'm just chilling here. Yeah, I just got to be aware of that.
Exactly.
What am I seeing? All right, there's a soldier. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep chilling there. I really don't want them here, but they're gonna kind of just have me. Soldier's still here on me. just gonna try to take some heals for a second before I do anything else.
Don't worry about greeting your recall. You can just use it. It's fine. It's used to sustain you. It's not like this super valuable cooldown. But yeah, nice job. Now they're gonna know you're here. So
so Soldier is gonna be
that attention
up here just
is coming.
inherently. Yeah. We know that he's already pre-scouting me. Yeah. Oh, and they got a Sombra on this angle too, and they stole my health back. I don't really care for that angle anymore.
So that's where the unpredictability comes into play, right? So you're like, okay, well they've scouted me out. So now we try this.
Yep. Now I want to go into the left here, just because I don't want to really play on a nothing angle anymore, and it's just Soldier.
So that's greeting recall. You said, "Oh, I can leave this angle." I don't want you to leave this angle. I want you to recall and hold the angle and just live in their backline. It's not so much about like, oh, you could have lived there if you'd used recall, although that's true. It's more about like you leaving to save your recall is too expensive of a cost.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
But I like the angle. It's good. It's okay. Play for a second here.
Yeah, play. We're not.
So we won't focus on the recall as much, but that is another sentence for you. Do not greet it. Use it to sustain yourself on the end. Is this good?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever comes there is your responsibility, whether it's 1 or 2 or 3.
No,
good.
Yeah, that's cool.
That was good. That was good.
Yeah.
With the exception of post recall, just obviously be a little bit more attentive to the attention that you're getting. But your Sigma got hacked out of flux, and your backline got fluxed, and you still got an opening pick because you're pulling 2 or 3 people's attention. Very, very good job from the angles that you're taking. Let's keep that up.
Okay.
Now
Sounds
where?
Good. Now where? Oh, I'm wanting to go out.
Okay.
Now, while my team is here, I need to be present. Oh.
Good.
Yeah.
Grab your perch.
Right. Yep.
Next angle, because this one's awkward, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I didn't feel out where I wanted to go.
Well,
that felt more like.
It's because it's more of a mid-fight decision rather than a pre-fight setup. It's infinitely harder to make a mid-fight rotation as such, especially when I'm telling you to pick your perk, right?
Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, true, my perk.
Yeah. So that's okay.
Yeah. Next out here. Yeah, I felt the Sombra.
Now where's your angle? Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. That's okay. This was mostly a question of timing. You were kind of by yourself with your Moira, and so they were allowed to put a lot of resources for you for free. Your positioning was okay, just too soon.
This is too soon. Okay. Yeah.
But again, that's not really what we're practicing. That's a separate thing. I'm answering questions that you may have, but I want you to keep focusing on this position.
On the one thing. Okay.
This is really good. Very nice. Now where from here? Oh, this is good. This is good.
Yeah,
I like this a lot. Good. Very good. Very good.
Still here. Yep.
Beautiful rotation from you. It's so dangerous because they just couldn't kill you. Like they they were giving you a lot of you were rotating from cover to cover to cover to cover, and they just couldn't nail you down. It's really good. Very nicely done. Check your team. Where are we fighting here? Okay, this is where we're fighting.
Back, yeah. So we see where that line gets drawn. Oh, yeah.
So you were initially scared of getting pincered by Ana, and then got surprised by the pincer on Sombra. So I'm actually going to praise you. I'm going to praise you for the attention to detail about not getting pincered by Ana. Sombra's just an awkward outlier. Grab your perk.
Yeah. Grab my perk. 2 blinks.
Yeah, you had the right idea. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
Now where's your
that felt like a fence. Oh, I need. Nice. Asleep.
Winston dies. Beautiful.
Angle.
You are the gatekeeper of this entire sideline.
Yeah.
This Winston's asking for follow-up and not getting it, and it's your
And
fault.
yeah,
because
he
this
can't, 'cause
entire
he's-
lane
yeah.
is just controlled by you.
Yeah, Ana can't step into LOS to even kill him.
Even the Sombra angle has been gate kept by you here.
Okay. I was gonna say, here is soldier on me. Packets
okay.
put on that side angle.
That's okay. That's okay. There was a sound cue about 7 seconds ago that she was coming back from spawn. You could hear the translocator, and you just kind of forgot about the translocator.
Oh, that's a fair point. I don't think I was even like.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Again, we're not.
Yeah.
We're, that's
We're
like,
not thinking about it, but yeah.
Yeah, we're not worried about it, right? But yeah, your
point.
entire fight was really solid for me. Try a different angle this time. Try left. Try left. Let's try something different.
Okay. Yeah.
Just not for the sake of unpredictability, just for the sake of learning. How does this feel?
Yeah. Different spaces. Well, that makes me Oh, am I lagging? It's fine.
So play your life here along this
Yeah,
angle.
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I got half attempted. I'm just gonna steal this from him because I don't want him to play on it.
Contesting
Go
this
back
lane.
here.
Very good.
I'll go back
Good
here.
rotation.
Yeah. Nice. He wants to helix me.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Oh. No, like a large use of time.
Yeah, close. That would just
Yeah.
need to be if one of those needed to be a finish of a kill. But you
Yes,
guys just
yeah,
didn't have.
that's-
You guys just didn't ult soon enough. I think that third defense was really. I mean, honestly, all the way first and second too was exactly how you should be practicing. Exactly how you
Okay.
should be practicing. It could tell.
Okay.
The best compliment I can give you is that despite this map being like something that you haven't I put a lot of hours in on Tracer, I assume, at least on first point, you look pretty comfortable experimenting with new positions and kind of exploring the map that felt right for Tracer, and you did a good job.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, this is exactly what I want to see you doing moving forward when you're practicing sentences.
It's so weird. She feels like you're playing like a lot of characters in this game don't feel like you're playing as much of like an arena shooter in the same way that like I would say like a split game or like a Halo or a Quake feels, but forcing myself to think about different angles and actually being able to take them, I just don't I think that flexibility is like what's giving me any amount of confidence. It's just like you could be here if you wanted to be. Yeah.
Now, generally, when I practice something, I'm kind of stick with it for the entirety of the game.
Yeah.
But this is also where if this was a different game or a halftime, you could pivot to something new if you wanted to. So we can continue to work on the depth of your angles and like finding your rotations, or we can work on a different sentence. It's up to you.
I think within the context of this game, now that we're on the second half, I do kind of want to think a little bit more about kind of just the use of those abilities.
Okay, so let's
when they're
focus
being
on
used
how
and
you're
why.
using the links.
Yeah,
Sure.
Okay.
Pay
I'm using the
attention.
links.
Let's pay attention to the attention you're getting and using your blinks
Okay.
accordingly.
The attention I'm getting when I'm using my.
How are you dodging?
Okay.
I want you to be an S tier dodger.
Okay, an S tier dodger. Makes sense. Cool.
So don't worry as much about your positioning. Just worry about using those blinks to evade. That was very close, very close.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like I get up to the right to the health back.
and noticeably more thoughtful than what we saw on your defense. That's what we're aiming for.
Yeah, I'm trying to be just a bit more conscious and intentional about the blinks.
Okay, so we'll start on an angle and then start thinking blinks. All right, we are now blinked.
Yep, yeah, we're now blinked out. I'm gonna recall here just so I can get out this way. Oh,
So
that guy had recall. Yeah,
that example with Mei shows your inexperience. So that's a situation we need to blink through her. You need to focus on stealing that mega. Then you can recall, right?
Then you recall.
You need to experiment more with how you're using your blinks in that matchup. Take the duel wherever you're at. Beat them with your blinks.
Okay, beating people with the blinks in that context, not just using them as like a... Okay.
Right.
Yep, caught her on it. Did I get it? No. I'm not gonna... Oh, cool.
Stay focused on your blinks here.
Yeah.
Win this 1v1.
You never icicled, so I don't have to blink.
Well, but at the same time, that DPS is significant, right? Like that's the thing.
DPS, yeah, it is a high number.
It is a
way higher number than I thought it was.
Yeah, so I guess that's kind of my point, right? This is why we're practicing this.
Yeah,
you know?
You need to like know that limit. You can kind of
grab
test
your
with
perk.
Mei. Yep, grab my perks. Bad issue.
That's all right. They did a really good job up to. So now we focus on angle, just to start.
Yeah, just to start,
and then
once
now,
I'm here,
right?
now I'm thinking about my blinks.
Now we're moving.
Now we're in mechanic zone. We can chill in mechanic zone while we're here. I want to get in closer. I want to get down a little more.
Good.
Oh yeah, actually we're here. We're here. We're in. Okay.
That's crazy.
That's
That's okay. 1 second on recall. It was like literally
1 second on
0.5
recall.
seconds.
Yeah.
It was tough. It's all right. It's something to kind of think about post recall, right? Just how far can I push from cover? You don't want to AFK necessarily, but you do have to kind of think about how aggressively do I want to push.
I think I heard Sombra translocate on my side. Yeah. So this is a fight I should not have come back to.
That's okay. We can get out.
Yeah, we can leave this place. We're okay. With my morning. Oh, it's fine. It's okay. It's chill. We'll have a reset here in a minute, and we'll get Moira up. I should be thinking about where I want to be though. She's kind of filling in on that angle though.
All right, now we'll
I might just go Mark. Yeah.
Sure.
Oh yeah,
Or
we're
shimmy.
out of blinks, but yeah, we should.
This is fine.
Yeah. Now that I'm here though, I can. That's what I can do to pull out this pressure. Don't need to blink for that. Can't straight line there. Yeah, I gotta go around. I don't know why I went through the pressure.
Well, this is tricky because you're
Yeah.
fixating on blinks, and unfortunately, the positioning was the most important thing there, right?
Yes,
That's okay.
yeah.
It happens.
That was-
it happens. Now, before that, when you initially touched cart and then Orisa Moira went for you, your blinks were really good. That was good. Stay in the blinks.
Yep.
Almost. Okay. Good.
And that could have been a recall or a blink to get out of LOS. And that's kind of
This
I
is
think I
just
tried
where
going
you.
to the right.
This is
Yeah.
why you have to spend time playing this character and only this character
This
for a
character.
couple weeks. You know,
Yep.
it's the aiming side of things is like okay, right? But you just don't know your 1v1s well enough, right? The Mei is a great example. This hack is a great example as well.
Yeah. And I think being like conscious of that. All right, I'm putting myself in position. I'm in mechanics. I thought I got walled off, yeah. That's not that great. I don't really want to sit in for damage too much, but I still want to be on the same spot. Keep blinking around. Just keep working. Guessing I can hit. Nah. That was just...
This time, get it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, last time, not again. I don't want to.
Lifetime
We are
evolution.
just goated.
I love that. I love that. I love that. That's so good. And you did better earlier in that engagement with fighting the Mei as well. Like, it felt awful, but she was constantly fixated on you, and you were still distracting her backline too. So you're getting like 2 for 1. All right, stay locked in on our movement here.
Yep.
Beautiful blinks.
I tried blinking up to the left. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'll just take the recall. It's 2 points. Sure. There's a. I don't need to blink here early. Hold those. Get back into the fight this way.
That's okay. So
Yeah,
those blinks were like even
that...
versus the Moira. I want to see you blinking more through targets when you can, rather than backwards. Like, see how you blink back there, but you're still directly in front of their screen. Blink through them more often, even with characters like Moira and Mei. You know,
blinking through people more. Okay, cool. I can
We're just details on the same thing we're practicing. Okay.
On the same, within the same. Yeah, let's just yeah, it's okay. Oh, cool. But I see her wanting to do that, so I'm gonna try and.
Yeah.
There you go. No, I don't want to take too much damage.
Beautiful pulse. Very close.
Ooh, anti. Yeah, it's fine. I can spy check it. Yeah, it's okay.
Beautiful. Cool. Play your life.
Don't stress it too much. Yep. I got my blinks back.
Very nice.
Back up to the spot. Hope I get some games soon. Thank you. I go back down.
Beautiful blinks.
And now she's getting me chased out this way, but it's okay. Wait.
Oh, we C9'd. We C9'd.
Oh, we C9'd.
That's
oh.
That's good. That's good.
Okay, it's okay.
For what we were practicing, that was really good. That was really good. Really good. Nice job, mate. Good stuff. Good. What a beautiful round. Now that is how you practice right there. That's how you practice. And not only did we get our positioning practice in, but we got exactly how you practice your mechanical side of things too. Trigger discipline. Now for sentences here, you need to be more deliberate with how you're using your blinks in response to attention. All those little juicy details, right?
Yeah.
You need to practice more setting up on your angles and shooting what's convenient and not just trying to fixate on chasing targets or being unpredictable. The most important thing is just the fundamental angle itself and what you're doing on that angle. Okay.
Yeah. I really liked. Yeah, I felt like there was it felt like there's like this almost like 2-sentence approach that I eventually got into where I was able to like be like, okay, we focus on getting into the side angle, and then now that we're here, we no longer like, get rid of that for a second. Now we're in the mechanic zone.
Correct. That's it. There's a lot of other details as well. Not greeting your recall for too long, respecting. It was more along the blink pattern, but kind of respecting just normal, boring old damage like Moira right click with your blinks just to make the move. But yeah, I would practice and simplify those sentences. And this is how you need to take the information for any character that you're learning, from a VOD review that I did, or coaching, or Reddit post, or anything that you're studying. Any information, it needs to be processed into something that's actionable for every game. If I can be honest with you guys, if you are, a lot of the students that I'm working with try to be too niche with their feedback, like too little details, like, oh, in this situation, this is a bit of micro. If you can't replicate a piece of feedback in every game that you play, it's probably not a sentence worth practicing.
Okay. Yeah. And that's kind of the feeling that I get, is if I feel like if I'm targeting something and it's either not specific enough, or like you said, like I feel like I'm explaining a thesis, then that's not like a thing.
Basically, right.
Yeah.
It's not that those details don't matter, but they're probably things that you'll kind of figure out in practice kind of accidentally anyway. Like a good example was what you did with the May and the pulse bomb, right? You didn't need to put a lot of attention towards that. When you saw it, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot I could do that. Let's try that really fast. And then it left your brain, right? That's kind of exactly how those things do. But the fundamental that stayed there was, I need to move, I need to move, I need to move, I need to move. And you did well with that. Any questions?
I would say that like the only thing that I would say is that like if I am kind of going through and I want to kind of like make up sentences kind of like as I'm like looking for videos, do you is it really just kind of just like when it comes down to like the VOD review thing, I know that like there should be kind of like quick little bits of like looking at specific moments in a VOD opposed to like watching over the entire thing in its entirety, right? We're looking for targeted issues and we want to kind of make a sentence off of that issue. Is that sort of the pattern that I'm sort of trying to build up, so to speak?
That's it. Yep. I mean, it takes practice. I mean, obviously today we went kind of like through a broad approach, but yeah, if you want to look at your own thing, and then just look at a specific facet and focus on that.
Look at a specific facet. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. That makes a lot of sense.